Sixers win big. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show. It is great to be here with all of you today. It is Thursday, the 21st of January here in 2021, 11:30 a.m. here on the East Coast. And as always, joined alongside by my co-host, Gavin Tony. A lot of exciting things yesterday. The Philadelphia 76ers pulling off an amazing comeback win over the Boston Celtics, giving them first place in the Eastern Conference with the best record. Joel Embiid, an amazing night, 42 points. And yes, Ben Simmons, who from the point side can be criticized, clutched up in those last 2 minutes of that fourth quarter with a few key steals and defensive stops. The Cleveland Cavaliers last night, double OT, defeating the Brooklyn Nets, their first game in the Big Three era. But before we get to all of that, Gavin, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Zach. Listen, from a sports perspective, we're going to get into Brooklyn. Zach, I'm okay with what happened yesterday, all right? Regarding to the Sixers, we're going to get into that right now. But, Zach, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Very fun game to watch last night. Was frustrating at times, but they closed it off at the end. They really sealed the deal, defeating the Boston Celtics. The Celtics almost as healthy as can be, of course. No Jason Tatum, which is a big deal, but Kemba Walker back looked pretty good last night as well. After that 25-point loss, 30-point loss actually to the New York Knicks the other night, they looked really good bouncing back yesterday. But yeah, Sixers clutching up big, without a doubt in my mind that team looked like a really serious Eastern Conference contender last night, even without Seth Curry in the lineup. Of course, Ben Simmons, still some major concerns with him, whether it be from the foul side or a few other issues, but he did record, I think, 8 boards, 9 assists, and 9 points. Pretty good night for him from that perspective. But also defensive stops, and that's kind of been the key difference maker. Again, it's going to be hard to defend Ben Simmons when he can't score more than double digits. But look, whatever he did last night was enough for the Sixers to win. That's pretty obvious right now because they beat a good team in the East.
It's like they beat a team that always had their number in the East. Zach, they beat a team that swept them last year. Now, let's go back, Zach, because last time I texted you, after Ben Simmons got his big personal foul, Zach, we already talked about something different, and I brought it up. We were not happy about that. All right? Look, Ben Simmons' defensive style, I wouldn't say is a little bit more aggressive, Zach. You know how I feel about the game being soft. So some of those foul calls, I don't blame him. But I will say this. That's the second time in, a week and a half where Ben Simmons is near fouling out.
He fouled out last time. Last time he fouled out, and last night he was close to.
Exactly. Zach, we got to figure out what's going on because I'm all for Ben Simmons being defensive player of the year candidate, but if you're going to keep fouling out, it doesn't matter. Look at Kawhi Leonard. He barely fouls out. LeBron James, Zach, even now I think every time he puts his shoulder in somebody's chest is an offensive foul, but he doesn't foul out. Anthony Davis doesn't foul out either. We got to figure it out. Now, offensively, I'm done criticizing Ben Simmons, Zach. I'm wasting my breath, and I think it's wasting yours as well. He's going to do what Ben wants to do, all right? Ben's going to average. I saw a thing that said, will Ben average over 15 points this year? I don't know. It might be 15 points or below. I mean, at the rate he's going, he doesn't seem scoring is not his number one priority, which is fine. Zach, I believe he'll turn on in a later year. As long as his team wins the game, I don't care how he does it. I mean, Zach, you had 22 from Tobias Harris last night, 42 from Joel Embiid. You had 12 from Danny Green. This is a shocking one for me. 0 points in 20 minutes of Tyrese Maxey. I don't like seeing that. You got to at least give me 2 points. If you play 20, Zach, my motto is if you play 20 minutes, you got to give me at least 2 points. A bucket or 4. You got to give me at least a bucket or 2. He didn't give me not one. Okay, Zach, that was his first time versus Boston. He might get another on Friday. I bet he has a better game. Furkan comes back, gives you 7. Matisse gives you 0. But he had a couple of nice defensive moments. And Shake Milton gives you 16. Zach, this team really needs Seth Curry. They do. We talk about Joel Embiid dropping 42, but who is the next guy behind him? It was arguably Seth Curry. Then you could say Tobias Harris and then Shake Milton, and then it goes down the line. Once Steph Curry comes back, and Zach, I'm a fan of both Currys, but once Steph Curry comes back, the scoring on the team is going to be more balanced, and I feel like the pressure of Joel Embiid having to do what he did every night is going to go off. You're going to get your best shooter back. The pick and roll, as you like to mention, comes back. Zach, this team is going to be just fine. But how they compare against the big three in Brooklyn, I don't know. I have to see it.
Yeah, no, true. Of course, the game we played against them was shorthanded, and the Sixers found a way to lose that game. Still undefeated with their starting roster. Of course, last night doesn't even count because Seth Curry was out. He is expected to play Friday, though, just working on some conditioning on his side as he recovers from the positive coronavirus test. But look, this team has a really good system plugged in. And even last night, when you have guys like Tyrese Maxey, you can usually count on to get you 5 to 10 points a night. Even when he's not able to step up and shoot, you have Joel Embiid do it. Of course, Embiid can't score 42 every night. Last week, Joel scored 9 points, and the Sixers still won that game. I mean, look, Joel Embiid's not the only guy on this offense. You have Tobias Harris there, and of course, you have Danny Green and Seth Curry, and you have Shake Milton off the bench. I would like to see Ben step up more and continue to do offense. Again, it's going to take time. If the trade deadline comes, there's a possibility he's on the move. But how about the fourth quarter for Ben Simmons coming in with 6 minutes to go with 5 personal fouls, does not foul out, clutches up, gets a few key defensive stops, a couple steals, a couple blocks during that game as well. I mean, look, if that's what he's going to do. I mean, look, that's a big deal because defense at the end of the day is going to win you some of those close games, and that defense turned into offense very quickly, allowing the Sixers to run away with it last night, making the score look a little more respectable.
Zach, that's what's hard about this. When we were going back to the Harden for Ben Simmons trade, it was the scoring aspect of James Harden is nice, but you lose the defensive factor. Zach, 5 personal fouls, you got 2 steals, and I wouldn't say grabbed a clutch rebound, which ended the game for the team. You lose that, but then you gain an offensive powerhouse in James Harden. Zach, I'm still torn. Even if they made the trade or not, I don't know. But what I will say this: with 5 fouls, you get 2 steals and a clutch rebound, and we know how soft the game is, Zach. For you not to foul in 6 minutes, I gotta give you props. For that. We gotta figure it out because you're fouling out a little bit more. Your fouls are high this year, but when everybody has this bump in the road, Zach, I think this is one major one for Ben Simmons, but he'll bounce back.
And they're still winning on top of the Sixers, currently sitting at 10-5, first place in the Eastern Conference. And Gavin, finally, of course, we know how the rivalry's always been between Boston and Philly, especially when Joel Embiid came on the scene for the modern day, more or less, in this rivalry. Marcus Smart last night saying an awful lot that Joel Embiid was flailing on the court a lot, of course, flopping for those who might not know that reference. Embiid responded to it. Gavin, what are some of your thoughts on Marcus Smart making those comments?
I mean, first of all, we do know Joel Embiid is a big softy, Zach. He is 7 foot, but I mean, if it works, it works. As long as he doesn't get himself hurt, I think that's what every Sixers fan can agree with. But Marcus Smart, all people, Zach, this is a guy, Marcus Smart, literally threw himself out of the air, and didn't get a call. At least when Joel Embiid flops, Zach, it looks believable. Sometimes, I guess. I love the energy these two are bringing, but Marcus Smart, watch him out because you're the king of all flops. All right. He got it from you personally, Zach. I believe it. Marcus Smart, just watch him out, Zach. I mean, Joel Embiid, if he's just don't get hurt when you're doing it. That's all I got to really say. I think that's the bottom line. Don't get hurt. Don't get hurt trying to do it. And Marcus Smart, watch him out.
They play again tomorrow, Friday night on primetime once again. The Philadelphia 76ers and the Boston Celtics again in Philly. We'll talk about it tomorrow, of course. We'll cover that game as well as we do the championship weekend between the AFC and NFC teams. But look, is Joel going to get 42 points at the end tomorrow? No. They're going to have to find a different way to win. Of course, Seth Curry coming back is going to help. And how about some props for Shake Milton? 16 last night. He had 31 the day before, 28 the previous game. He's been on an absolute tear, Gavin. He's in top 3 right now for 6th man of the year. Do you think he'd have a solid chance of grabbing it by the end of the year?
If Lou Williams doesn't get – or if Lou Williams or Montrezl Harrell or whoever the heck keeps winning that award on the Western Conference doesn't win it this year, he could be the guy that gets it. Zach, he's on a tear. And I'll even throw him in the conversation for most improved player. If you want to get technical, he's not the front runner for that, but he should be a close second. But all in all, Shake Milton is playing out of his mind right now. Zach, we needed somebody like that off the bench to do that. All right, if he could stay consistent, Zach, that's my number one thing is consistency with this team. It looks nice. It looks nice right now. But when we get to the mid-season, Zach, it's a little bit shorter. So maybe my statement might be out of context because of the shortened season. But when it gets to the mid-season, when you're around 40 games, or this year, whatever half of 70 is, Zach, I don't know. but whatever the half of that is, we got to see if they can stay consistent. Where they at? That's my number one thing with this team is consistency. And if we're going to talk about Shake Milton, he has to stay consistent. I like what I've seen so far. He has to keep it like that.
I agree. If he's consistent, then we're going to be looking at a much better situation for this Sixers team. With that being said, coming up after this, a shocker in Cleveland last night. Kyrie Irving's first game back. Box score was pretty for the big three, combining for over 80 points, yet they find a way to lose. Are the Nets as big of a threat as we think they are, or is it just a bad game? Stay tuned.
We are now offering a new product on our Teespring. Wear a mask in public. We are now supporting a custom designed mask with our logo on it. Purchase it today, and 10% goes to a foundation of our viewers' choice. It offers a full nose and mouth coverage, single-sided print, includes 2 2-inch elastic ear loops, non-medical grade product, and finally, $1 from every mask sale is donated to a nonprofit to feed children in need. Enjoy today's episode.
All right, look, a lot of hype last night going into that game between the Brooklyn Nets and the Cleveland Cavaliers in Cleveland, a tribute to Kyrie Irving last night. Again, box score was pretty. I'm pulling it up right now. It was a good game offensively, but Colin Sexton just got possessed at some point and was just making every shot at the end. I had a chance to watch the end of the double OT game, but just looking back on it, look, you lose 147-135 in 2 OTs. You take a look at Brooklyn on their side. You have James Harden getting 21 with 12 assists and 10 boards, Gavin, his second triple-double with the team. Kevin Durant, 38, Kyrie, 37, and then your bench, 10 points off your bench. And again, last night, Jared Allen had a chance to play against you after being traded. Are you worried about the Nets? Do you think their bench might not be good enough or their role players might not be good enough for them to be able to go deep?
Well, Zach, I remember coming on the show when the season first started, said this is the best bench in the NBA, and this is before they traded. This is before Spencer Dinwiddie goes down. This is before they moved Caris LeVert. This is before all those things happened, Zach. Am I worried about the Brooklyn bench? A little bit. Am I worried about the big three? No, Zach. Not. If you remember Kevin Durant's first game with the Golden State Warriors, they got blown up by the San Antonio Spurs. All right, they got blown up by the San Antonio Spurs. Not every big three is going to win every game. All right. It just happened that the team that they lost to does not even compare to what these guys, the magnitude of what these guys bring. Zach, 38 from KD, 37 from Kyrie, 21 from Harden. That's 96 points combined just out of those three. Who's outside of that? Jeff Green, 16. I like that. DeAndre Jordan, I believe they should get Jared Allen. But, Zach, you're not going to move DeAndre Jordan because that's Kevin Durant's boy. Joe Harris had a horrible night. Only 6 points. Zach, let's talk about it. But I don't think the narrative should be, we worried about the Brooklyn Nets. The narrative should be how darn good Colin Sexton looked last night. Zach, you talk about being possessed. I'll take it one step deeper. He was unconscious from 3 in the late game. Zach, over Kevin Durant.
Yeah, 20 straight points in double OT.
Exactly, Zach. He joined an elite company. What was that? LeBron James and I forgot the other two others, but he's on that list. Zach, he was unconscious from 3. He had 42 points in the entire game. He single-handedly beat the Brooklyn Nets. What are we going to say and say? Osman with 25 points beat the Brooklyn Nets? No. Drummond with 13? No. You can say Jared Allen, 12 and 11? Maybe. No. But, Zach, he single-handedly beat the Brooklyn Nets. Zach, I don't know if you saw the shot, but when he shot right over Kevin Durant, that was unconscious. Zach, Kevin Durant has the height advantage and the wingspan, and Colin Sexton, I don't care. 3. It's crazy. Now, there was a play, and I will say this, that the Brooklyn Nets defense does have to get better because there was a play where I want to say James Harden lets Colin Sexton go by. There's 3 Brooklyn Nets surrounding him. No one puts a hand up, and he just puts a floater in. So you have to work on things like that. But, Zach, I'm not worried about Brooklyn. And now if this continues to be a trend, then that's a problem.
3 All-Stars on that team that was already good beforehand. Kyrie Irving, first game back, 30-plus points, pretty impressive. I'd say for him, a tribute was given to him also before that game, only a second time playing in Quicken Loans Arena since he left Cleveland in 2017. With that being said, Gavin, around the NBA, we'll cover some of tonight's games, of course, a couple games continuing to be postponed around the NBA, but some games from last night. Dallas Mavericks beating the Indiana Pacers 124-112. The Atlanta Hawks are back at 500 after beating the Detroit Pistons 123-115. Raptors losing to Miami last night, who's still one game under 500, a team we expect to make a good turnaround, 111-102. And the Orlando Magic just barely squeaking by their first win since Markelle Fultz tore his ACL against the Timberwolves, 97-96. Phoenix Suns 109-103 against the Rockets in Victor Oladipo's debut. Of course, John Wall did not play last night. 121-99 Golden State Warriors easily taking care of business there. Clippers winning against the Kings 115-96. Gavin, Warriors 8-6, getting in playoff contention conversation this early in the year.
Is that Coach Draymond Green is really getting on James Wiseman in a good way, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not fond of Draymond Green, the player, because of I'm a big Kevin Durant guy, and like how everything went down that last year in Golden State. But Zach, he's mentoring James Wiseman to be a better basketball player. If James Wiseman and Steph Curry can get it going, get the chemistry down, they can make playoffs, Zach. I'm not saying number one. I'm not saying top five. But number 6 through 8 is most likely. Zach, they could slip in at 5. You never know. But this Warriors team can be dangerous. I'm not fond of their supporting cast outside of those 3 guys, and outside of Draymond, James, and Curry. Kelly Oubre has to continue to do more. Andrew Wiggins, how you would trade for you? I don't know why we would trade. Should have kept D'Angelo Russell for all of that. We got something better. But Zach, this Warriors team will be there. Zach, Steve Kerr is a fantastic coach. Him and his assistant Mike Brown, they're fantastic coaches. They're going to figure this thing out. They're going to make the playoffs. The real question is, Zach, what damage can they do in the playoffs without Klay Thompson? That's the real question.
You combine that with the experience. I mean, it's going to be, could they scare a 3 seed if they're the 6? I think so. I don't know if they take them out, but 8-6 right now, I believe they're in the 5th spot in the West. It's possible. As competitive as it's been, it is very possible for the Golden State Warriors to have to keep dominating teams. And last night was one of them. They've been playing a lot of close games against teams that they should easily beat. Last night, a team that's been playing hard all year, San Antonio, who is looking like they're going to make the playoff despite the fact they don't have many big names. But right now, I think that the Golden State Warriors last night, holding them to 99 points and then scoring over 120, it's a good look for Golden State.
Right now, Zach, on the outside looking in is Dallas and Denver. They're 7-7. They're right on the outside looking in. I don't see San Antonio making playoffs this year. And I know Greg Popovich is a fantastic coach. I know what DeMar DeRozan brings. I know what LaMarcus Aldridge has. All right. I just don't think they have enough to compete with everybody. That will be the second straight year Greg Popovich missed the playoffs if he doesn't go this year. The last 3 spots in the West are tricky. You can even say the last 4 due to the Warriors, but if everybody stays healthy and they continue to grow, then it'll be the last 3. Portland, Memphis, and San Antonio. And then you have Dallas and Denver on the outside looking in. Who's not making it? Right now, Zach, I see I see San Antonio being on the outside looking in, and either Dallas and Denver sneaking in and making that run. Zach, they're 7-7. Dallas and Denver is. San Antonio's 8-7. It's gonna be interesting to watch. The play-in tournament is a factor, so whoever you're really playing for the 9th spot, the 9th seed. Right now, there's a tie for that. Interesting to watch.
Look, we're 14, 15 games into the season. It's a 72-game season. I think it's a little too early to evaluate it. I think that once we get around 30 games, once this first wave of scheduled games gets through, talking about February and March, I think that's going to be the appropriate time to take a look at the teams. And we'll know who are the better teams in this league. Of course, the Sixers sitting at the 1 seed. I expect Brooklyn and Milwaukee to get up there. So with that being said, I don't know. I think that right now it's too early to tell. A team like Denver and Dallas, I expect to continue to climb. Teams like Golden State, I expect to really sit where they are. But again, it's going to take at least, I'd say, 15 to 20 more games before I can really tell you who's going to be in that outside looking in position.
So let me ask you a question. Is it fair to say that every game matters because of 72 games? Is this like another baseball where if you drop one, you're on the outside looking in. If you win one, you're in the inside? Like, is that what we're watching for the NBA, or you think it's a different circumstance?
I think in baseball, where there's less spots, they took away 102 games. In the NBA, where there are more spots, they took away 10. And that's where it stands. Does every game matter a little more mathematically? Yes, because you have 10 less games. Then again, last year, I think you had somewhere in the 50s last year, or low 60s for games that they had. They didn't even have 72 last year. Every game does matter, though. But again, it's the NBA. Similar to baseball, when it's a full season, you can drop a game here and there. Every good team loses at some point. But I think at the end of the day, you take a look at some of these other teams, like Dallas. You can't keep losing games this early in the season, like you mentioned, with a shorter schedule. However, compared to baseball, no, I think it's a little bit less significant than for baseball. You drop 2 or 3 games in a row, and you're almost guaranteed to be out of the playoffs.
Now, do you think a shortened schedule will help the teams like the New York Knicks, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Atlanta, those type teams? And I'm talking Eastern Conference right now.
I know, the final stretch of the season, that those final 10 games, if any of those teams fall off, if there's positions where they're juggling, then yes, it's going to benefit some of those teams. But other than that, no, I don't think it's that big of a difference. If the Knicks make it this year, is it because of the shortened season? I don't think so. I think they're just a better team. Basketball's a little tricky for me. If it was like 35 games in a bubble, then yeah, I'd say so. Like the Miami Heat last year advancing, but right now I'd say no. If whoever makes the playoffs, I think it's a pretty fair look at who would be under normal circumstances.
And my last thing, Zach, I have a nice little wish or dream. If the Sixers could stay number 1 and the New York Knicks could stay number 8, I would love that, because there would be nothing more that would warm my heart to watch New York Knicks get whooped in the playoffs. Besides them not making the playoffs. But Zach, another thing too is, what if Brooklyn climbs to number 1, Sixers drop to number 2, and New York Knicks stay at 8? The Battle of New York. That would be a nice little ring to it.
Maybe a little more extra motivation there. But with that being said, a couple of notable games tonight: the Knicks and the Warriors at 10 o'clock. Maybe that'll be a close game. Who knows? Knicks have played a lot of good games this year, 7 and 8 right now. Pelicans, Jazz. Jazz are on a insane hot streak, and the Lakers and the Bucks at 7:30. I'd say that's the big game of the night. Gavin, who are you taking in that one?
I'm gonna take the Bucks, Zach. Listen, and correct me if I'm wrong. The last game that Milwaukee played was at Brooklyn, correct? Or was there a game in between that?
I think it was Brooklyn 2 nights ago.
So Giannis lost because Chris Middleton shot an idiotic shot, which he was wide open. Zach, okay, Giannis is wide open. I don't know if you saw the tape or not. Giannis is gonna come out here, drop 30 points. I expect Anthony Davis to have a big night as well. I think the power of the Bucks will be a little bit too more for the Lakers. Could be wrong, but
Lakers also coming off a tough loss against Golden State. It's going to be a close one. It's going to be a great game. It's in Milwaukee. I don't know. They beat them last time around. The Lakers did, but that was in LA. I am going to go with you. I'm going to agree with you and say the Bucks tonight in a very close game. Otherwise, if the Lakers do win, it's because Kentavious Caldwell-Pope or someone like that, Dennis Schroeder, is able to come out and just light it up, because LeBron and AD are bringing as much as you can ask for every night. The role players need to do their part. Marc Gasol as well, who's been very underwhelmed this year as a starting center.
It should, excuse me, Zach. It should be Montrezl Harrell at the starting center. That's just my opinion.
Possibly. Again, 6th man of the year last year, so maybe they're trying to get some of that magic as well. But coming up after this, Phillies, interesting news continues. A divisional rival possibly offering a contract to the best catcher in baseball. We'll break all that down and what it means after this.
Would you like to know how you can support the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show? If so, head down to the comments on our YouTube channel. You will see 2 links there. The first is our Teespring, where you can see a wide variety of apparel products, including our signature product, the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show sweatshirts, offered in a variety of different colors, including gray, navy blue, and more. Finally, we have our Patreon page, where you can become a monthly donation member. 10% of all donations go towards an organization of our viewers' choice. We hope that you enjoyed today's episode, and if you can't donate, that's okay, because you can always share this.
We need to meditate before we get into this, Zach. We know what this brings, but go on. We need a deep breath.
I know the Phillies have continued to find a way to prove they're the worst franchise in baseball. They offered JT Realmuto a deal. It has obviously not been signed. And now the Atlanta Braves are possibly interested in giving him one. Gavin, what are some of your thoughts?
Why play here? Zach, would you want to play here regardless of the money? Zach, we know what Bryce Harper means to the city. Zach, we all know what he came here for. He didn't come here to win. He came here for the money, Zach. All right? This franchise is not about winning. They're not about winning. Zach, if they wanted to win, wouldn't they be a little bit more active in free agency? Wouldn't we have a guy like Blake Snell here? Wouldn't we got more people in the offseason in the bullpen? Zach, what are we doing? Oh, I can tell what we're doing, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you what's going on here. They don't care. Zach, you ever heard that Stephen A. Mean where he goes, we don't care? That's what the Phillies are doing right now. They're literally looking at the Phillies fan base. They're looking at us, Zach, me and you and others, Dom and everybody else. They're looking at us and basically saying, we don't care. We don't care what you think. We don't care what you want. We're going to sit here and be trash. You know, it's like, I'm going to put this out here right now. If JT Realmuto leaves and goes to Atlanta or goes to New York, I don't care what people call me. I'm retiring as a Phillies fan for this year because I'm be too upset to watch. All right, I love Joe Girardi. All right, Bryce Harper, you're my guy. All right, Andrew McCutchen, all that. But guess what? If you lose him, you don't have a chance to do anything else. And the fact that it took you that long to give him a 5-year, $100 million deal after your star, your beloved star, asked for him to be here. And Zach, what do? You ignore what he asked for. And last year you take him to court. Nice job, genius. And didn't get you nowhere, Matt Klenchak. Nice job. Would you want to play here, Zach? That's my question for you. Would you? Because I sure as hell don't want to. It's a nice ballpark, but
I don't know what to say. He's the best catcher in baseball. You're offering him money. How bad can this front office be at this point? How bad can the ownership group be? I mean, I don't know what to say. We've continued to be disappointed by this team. Year in and year out since 2012. It's going to be 10 years. Next season is going to be 10 years that they've missed – or this year, actually. 2011 was the last time they made the playoffs. 10 years since their last playoff appearance. What have they done? You have the first overall pick. What's he doing now? You have the third overall pick. He's playing third base pretty well right now. But, look, this team is not where it should be. You have Aaron Nola. You have a couple of nice pieces. We had high expectations 2 years ago. You collapse at the end of the year. You get a new manager. You collapse at the end of this year. Could this team be a little better than we think it is? Yes. I think they're not playing to their potential. But every team around you is getting substantially better. It's hard to keep up, and now you're just trying to fight to keep JT Realmuto here. I don't believe this team can compete this year, especially if that's your biggest issue right now. You don't have a third ace, honestly. You have two good pitchers. One who had a tough year last year, but we know he'll bounce back. I think.
Do we really know? I don't believe so.
Aaron Nola will be fine. I think that he will be. Zach Wheeler looked good, of course, last year. They just need to put it together on a consistent basis, and it starts with re-signing guys like JT Realmuto.
Zach, it's a nice ballpark. I gotta say something nice about the Phillies before we leave. It's a nice ballpark, right, Zach? Beautiful ballpark. All right. That ballpark is fantastic, especially at night. Zach, the night games, I don't know if you've been to a fireworks, but it reeks of depression because that's what that team brings. Zach, you know the team is bad. If they only sell a ticket for what, $15 to sit third base line? What is it, $5? They're literally begging people to come to a game because that's how I feel like I have to do. I love going to Phillies games. Zach, I enjoy singing the Diamond Club. I enjoy my experiences there. But when it's time to watch the game, it's nothing but straight depression. Zach, I feel bad for any. It's like they should offer any Phillies fan that's been a Phillies fan for longer than we've been alive, or excuse me, that's been watching this team every day. Because I know some people watch this team every day. They should offer them therapy because that's how bad the Phillies are. It's like I'm gonna say this. I'll leave it like this. Let JT Realmuto leave and go to a so-called wrong team. Excuse me. Mets or Atlanta, maybe possibly goes back home. Let him leave, and guess what? There will be no Gavin the Phillies fan next year. I promise you. Zach, I will. Zach, like you had that Kansas City Royals had back in 2015, 2016? 2015. I will have a new hat, and I will debut on the show. All right, and just like that, Zach. They don't want to get better. Guess what, Zach? We want to be better people. We want to grow into better men. I'm gonna do something that they're not trying to do. Better myself by not watching them no more. I'm sick of this, Zach. They should knock that ballpark down. They really should. Or just like I posed a ban on New York Knicks. I guess they're allowed to play there now, so I banned the Atlanta Falcons to play in their stadium. They should be banned to play in their ballpark until they do something nice for once. Archie Bradley, that's nice. George Springer went to the Blue Jays. Could use them.
The Padres had their abundance of pickups.
But the Padres, Zach, the Padres went out here. They're like, you remember when John Mitchell was like, we're going to spend stupid money? There's your stupid money right there. But that's not stupid money. That's good money. Zach, Blake Snell. Who else they bring in? Blake Snell. They're
Darvish.
Say that again? Darvish. That's right. And then they're gonna pay for Fernando Tatis to keep him there with Manny Machado. Oh, and what did the Phillies have to show for us? Nothing, ladies and gentlemen, nothing. Oh, and by the way, Zach, the Mets owner, right? And this is why I don't like rarely any of the owners. The only owner I really like here is Jeffrey Lurie. Some days, and I say that some days, Zach, because it's hard to like him some days. But I gotta give him props because he did win. The one thing about the Mets owner is he said what he wanted to do, clean house, right, Zach? Clean house. Brought in Francisco Lindor, right? And is there anybody else I'm missing? Because they brought in a lot of people. They brought in Francisco Lindor. They also got Carlos Carrasco. You have Jacob DeGrom, you still have Noah Syndergaard. You got Peter Alonso. All right, and for some reason, everybody in New York, the New York Mets, they just play well together. Why can't we? Why does that owner? Oh, and by the way, Zach, then he has a general manager that does something really hard and inappropriate that you shouldn't do. And what does he do? He says, "No, we're not having none of this," and he fires him. Guess what? He wants to win. Do we want to win? I don't believe so. Zach, take it away.
Very frustrating because it's not that this team's getting worse, but they're not getting better. Losing JT will make you worse. As far as the Phillies, expectations are non-existent right now for this year. It's going to be a long season. It's going to be 162 games, what we're looking at right now. Playing against our division a lot, you're going to see a lot of talent in this division, and not a lot of it's going to be in the red and white pinstripes.
Zach, are we all for? Would that be okay if the Phillies lose JT Realmuto? Can I have a new favorite team for next year just for a year?
I mean, we're starting to report on them here, but I guess you can.
Okay, I'm just going. Look, Zach, Mookie Betts is my guy. I'm not going to the Dodgers because they win a championship. All right, I'm just saying. I will not watch. I will report it. I will report it because that's my job, Zach. That's our job. But I won't watch a nary game.
Look, it's frustrating if you're a Phillies fan right now.
Frustrating.
We will continue to cover it as the JT Realmuto news continues to develop the offers on the table from the Phillies. I don't know what Atlanta would offer him, but frustrating to see your entire division get better and you just sit there stuck in non-existence, especially when there's no hard salary cap. It's pathetic in my opinion. But with that being said, everybody, we'll continue to update you on that. We'll be back here tomorrow on our Friday special. Thank you again, everybody, for being here today. Gavin, anything else? Go ahead.
Real quick, Zach. I just got to say this real quick. You want to talk about the division getting better. For those who may or may not know, the Braves got Charlie Morton with a few of the guys that opted out coming back next year. Guess what, Zach? If the Phillies really want to impress me and make me smile and make me like them again, go get Trevor Bauer and then let's talk. How about that? Let's do that. Because the Cincinnati went with, 3 great pitchers and a decent hitting? Do something. Don't depress me. Oh wait, it's like I'm gonna get gray hair, so it's not even from the college stress I got going on. It's going to be because of the Phillies and how depressing they are, and the Eagles are going to start making me mad in a minute. Zach, I think we should end it right here. Have a good one, everybody. I'm out.
Thank you again, everybody. We'll see you all tomorrow.
Have a good one, everybody.
If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. In addition, hit that bell icon and set it to all to get reminded of when we go live and